he somewhat came up with a new-ish character, Aladdin Sane, hence the name of the album. And really, the album is just a play on a phrase, Aladdin Sane.
And you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of I'm forgetting the name of the second song on the Transformer album.
Right before they go to the chorus the first time, Trevor Boulder jumps to the 4 chord, and you hear Bowie go, "Get back on that." Hey music fans, welcome back to Sound Lab Studios. Today we are continuing through our David Bowie series. Today we are going to be doing his 1973 album, Aladdin Sane, which is the follow-up to Ziggy Stardust, and I wish that I had the record out, but again, I'm moving, so I got all my records boxed up. This is like one of Bowie's most iconic album covers too, so shame I don't have that behind me, but excited to get to talk about this one today because David Bowie describes this one as the sound of Ziggy Stardust, but in New York City. And we have Bryer's Music Showcase and Nick from Townsend 505 here. How are you guys doing this evening?
Pretty good.
Yeah, doing nice.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the background information on this album. Background information.
Ziggy Stardust, of course, the album was a smash hit, and of course, like always, going on tour. And he toured the UK and US, and of course, the shows were usually very much well liked. There was a lot of set changes, a lot of costume changes, and it was just an excess overall. Of course, David got to see a lot of the facets of America, which would influence a lot of songwriting on this album. Not only is his career going off, but he's also tinkering in the behind-the-scenes stuff. He would help bands like Mott the Hoople score their first hit with All the Young Dudes. And of course, he would have a hand in producing Lou Reed's second album, Transformer. And even got a little hand in the mixing stage, because he would have a mix for Iggy Pop and the Stooges' Raw Hour. Now it's time to record the follow-up to Ziggy. And he had a lot of the same people. You still had these Spiders from Mars kind of coming back yet again. Still have Mick Ronson. Then you have, of course, you have Trevor and Nick on bass and drums respectively. And initially, David wasn't quite sure on the direction. He knew he didn't want to do a Ziggy Part 2. He wanted to go for a much more harder, kind of more tougher sound. And lyrically, he was taking inspiration from his newfound fame, you know, urban decay, drugs, and then violence even, you know, the usual stuff. And so he didn't want to flat out be Ziggy again, but just like a character very similar to him, like what Scott says. It's Ziggy Stardust, but in New York, in a sense. And so he somewhat came up with a new-ish character, though still kind of looking like Ziggy. He called this character Aladdin Sane, hence the name of the album. And really, the album is just a play on a phrase, Aladdin Sane. It was another good success. It actually topped the UK charts, which was pretty good. And critics overall thought it was a nice follow-up. Even though, of course, it's hard to follow up an album like Genie, but it is what it is. But even today, it's still seen as one of his essential albums, and like we established already, it probably has most likely his most iconic album cover. When people think David Bowie, this is usually the first image people will think of, the lightning bolt on the eye. But overall, that is all the background info I have for this album.
Well, sometimes I also like to talk about the album cover, so more on the topic of that. What do we think about the album cover? 'Cause this album, I think the most famous thing from this album, the album cover.
Oh, the album cover is awesome. I think it's very iconic, very very recognizable. I mean, it's like Aladdin Sane to David Bowie is, in my opinion, what Lose the World is to Queen in terms of album covers. Definitely, like, if I were to rank them all, this would be like at least top 3.
Yeah, I agree. Don't have much to add to that. Yeah, it's iconic.
I read that at the time this was released, this was the most expensive album cover ever to make.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it's just a picture of him in a white background. But and a lot of people have speculated, what does the album cover mean? Because it's half blue and half red as a lightning bolt. And when you go to the title, Aladdin Sane, some have speculated that it's talking about the duality of madness and sanity. So without further ado, we are now going to go ahead and get into the album. The first song on here is called Watch That Man.
Okay, Watch That Man. I mean, Watch That Man, you start off with like a heavy rock riff. Watch That Man. I think this is a really strong way to open up the album.
Yeah, this is a really cool way to start the album. If you're expecting a Ziggy Stardust Part 2, this is probably the song on the album that's most like Ziggy Stardust Part 2. And good that they put that up front, because that's exactly what people are expecting. You get that great guitar from Mick Ronson and the big heavy chorus with all the harmonies with the Watch That Man. That's what I like about this album, is that it's kind of building on the foundation that Ziggy laid, and is doing different things with that sound. Because David Bowie really never made the same album twice. He didn't want to do just Ziggy Part 2. He says, he wants to do Ziggy in New York.
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely another strong opening song. And yeah, I mean, right out the gate, Mick Ronson's just really ripping it on the guitar. Again, there's some other good like musical qualities in it. Like you hear some very good piano playing underneath. Again, almost like a Jerry Lee Lewis type of thing. And even have some saxophone as well. Even like a little choir in the background, which is also very interesting. Like it's very packed sonically. Like I will say, like it's so packed sonically that there are definitely times where I think it kind of overpowers David's vocals at times, or where it kind of drowns out. But it's not really a complaint really. I still think it sounds good. And it didn't really bother me. But I think the bridge section was very cool, very nice. And like I said, it just kind of starts the album on a very strong note. But yeah, this is a pretty good way to open the album.
All right, well, our second song on the album is the title song, Aladdin Sane.
I love this song. It's another really great song. I love the "Is Aladdin Sane?" Oh, I love that. I don't know why it's so catchy. It's like 5 minutes, and I love again, you get the glam rock that David Bowie was doing, but you get a little more experimentation on it. He goes really crazy on the next album, Diamond Dogs, which we'll get to that when we get to that. We'll see how I feel about when he does that, but I do think this is another strong song in his discography, and really plays in, the way he sings it. Aladdin Sane, like, he's a Aladdin Sane, he's going insane. I love that. It shows kind of, I don't know if you guys picked that up. I think I don't know if he intended that way, the way he's singing Aladdin Sane, like he sounds like Aladdin Insane, for me, and I think it really works to their advantage.
So, you remember when I said that the first song was, if you're expecting Ziggy Part 2, this is exactly what you're looking for? Now we get to track 2, and it's exactly what you wouldn't expect. This is a jazz song. I was not expecting a jazz song on this kind of Ziggy Stardust follow-up album, but it works so well. The piano on here is really good. It's got like this 70s groove to it. And Nick is 100% right. This song just sounds like somebody going crazy, especially with the way he sings the Aladdin Sane part and the piano solo. The piano solo is very sporadic and very just seemingly random, but it was very calculated by the pianist. Apparently, the pianist had dabbled into some avant-garde music And whenever he played on this track, he tried playing like a bluesy solo the first time, and Bowie said, "Hey, that doesn't sound like you. That sounds like what you're trying to do what I want. Why don't you play what you have the background in?" And this was the first take he did after Bowie told him that. And Bowie said, "This is perfect. We're going to keep that on the record." And I think it really works because, again, with the title Aladdin Sane, that piano solo just sounds like somebody going insane.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is another standout song for me. And yeah, the piano playing is definitely the big standout. For all we mentioned, again, very avant-garde jazz influenced, which I think again plays into the song extremely well. And yeah, and I also agree. I think the vocal melody is definitely the kind of the thing that sticks with you, which is how it kind of just kind of eerily catchy, given the subject matter that we're talking about here. But yeah, good steady beat. The bass playing again, I want to shout that out. I think it sounds really good. Some more great saxophone and just really a lot of cool elements to this one. Yeah, this is definitely another standout song for me.
All right. Well, the next song is one of the singles on this album. That is Drive-In Saturday.
It's another song I really enjoyed. There's harmonies on here, and you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of I'm forgetting the name of the second song on the Transformer album.
Andy's chest.
Yes, Andy's Chest. That's what it kind of reminds me of.
It's a good thing I had this on standby.
I love this song. This is huge standout on the album for me. There's so many songs that could be a huge standout for me. This is one of them.
Yeah, this song is amazing. I see why Bowie picked this as one of the singles on this album. It has kind of a feel of a 1950s doo-wop ballad, but gone horribly wrong, and I think that's kind of what he was going for. Because lyrically, this is about a relationship that's falling apart, where they don't know if they love each other or not, but it's like, we're going to try to make it work kind of a thing. I love the mellotron on this song. That's really cool. And I love the harmonies when they go like doo doo ah. I like how the chorus is in a completely different key than the verses. Very interesting change that kind of holds the listener's attention. This is one of my favorite songs on the album.
All right, yeah, yeah. This was another pretty interesting song, and I really enjoyed it for it. Yeah, the '50s doo-wop, like that twisted '50s doo-wop. I think it's a really good way to put it together, because that's what essentially it is. But again, you have some really cool elements. Like I really like the acoustic guitar. Again, kind of really setting the eerie tone, but even the horn section is pretty interesting. But I will say the chorus is definitely my favorite part of the song. Don't have much else to say, don't have much else to add, but it's another really strong song here.
All right, well, the next song is Panic in Detroit.
I'm just gonna say it again. This is another great song. This is one of those albums where it's like you really can't go wrong with this album. I've always really enjoyed this album, and the more I listen to it, the more I've appreciated it. And yeah, this is a strong song on this album. I mean, you got that again. You have a mix of the New York Ziggy mixed with classic Ziggy. I think that's another highlight on the album.
Yeah, that's another great song. This one kind of has a more frantic feel to it, with the guitar like the boo doo 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 doo. Very heavy on the bass here too. Trevor Bolder, very underrated bass player. I think Bryer will probably go into more lyrically what it's about, but I think it's about an event that happened at a Stooges concert in Detroit, and it's kind of chronicling that. But in contrast to the rest of the album, very just frantic and kind of gives you a sense of uneasiness, which really kind of adds to the vibe of the song.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Scott, you were pretty close. I mean, yeah, it's basically in 1967, there were like riots going on in Detroit, and I guess Iggy Pop kind of witnessed a lot of it, and so he was just telling David what was going on in that time, and David just kind of took influence by that, and so a lot of the songs kind of deal with definitely one of those songs with where the lyrics are pretty dark. You know, stuff like death and drugs are very prominent here, but Yeah, but this is another song I really enjoy on the album. Again, the guitar and the bass, especially in the beginning, like I really like how they sound together on that one. And the drumming, really cool drumming on this one. This is where the drumming kind of sticks out a lot more. Um, really great chorus to this one, backing vocals, which I don't know if they're from David or somebody else, but still really good. And just the guitar work yet again from Mick Ronson, really good standout. Definitely another one of the more rocking songs on here. Yeah, I really enjoy it. This actually just barely missed out in the top 5. I kind of really wanted it to be there, but I think there were some other songs I kind of liked a bit more. But it's a really strong honorable mention. It'd probably be number 6 if we're going neat for ranking all the songs. But yeah, I've always another good highlight song here.
All right, last song on the first side is Cracked Actor.
Okay. I think there's another really strong rock song on this album. I will admit it's my least favorite on this side. Probably my least favorite on the album. It's good. I think it's a great strong song, but just goes to show how strong this album is. Just you got banger after banger, and this is not even the best part of the album. We haven't even gone to the second side. I think that's even better than the first side. So I'm excited to talk about that when we get to it. But yeah, I love this song, even though it's my least favorite on the album.
Yeah, I thought this one was pretty good. It definitely has like good guitar playing, has a real vibe to it. I thought lyrically it was kind of stupid. It's about an actor who's 50 and is well past his prime who goes to a prostitute to prove he can, well, let's just say, perform. Um, but it has kind of a vibe to it. It's probably one of my least favorite songs on the album, and it's still good.
Yeah. For me, this is actually one of my favorite songs on here. This has always been the big kind of the most underrated song on here. Um, it's one of the it's probably is the shortest song on the album, but I think it just really packs a punch. Just the again, it's another one of the heavier songs, and I think just the guitar playing alone is really great. I mean, it's much heavier, kind of a more bluesier kind of riff. But man, and then the drums kind of keeps it moving along. And I say I really like the chorus. I think the chorus is really catchy. You know, the whole "smack baby smack" part. I think it's I always get that's the part that gets stuck in my head a lot. Nice, good punchy bass on this one, which is nice. But yeah, I will say this is one of my favorite David Bowie deep cuts. Like I think this song doesn't get much attention.
All right, you flip the record over, and the first song on the second side is another single, and that is Time.
So we kind of take a complete 180 from from side one. You go from the hard rocking energy songs to Time. You know, you got something way completely different, and this song is awesome. This is a top 5 song for me. I've always really enjoyed this song. This always was one of my favorite, more slower songs from David Bowie, and oh man, I love this song. This song is such a one always been one of my favorites from this glam rock period of David Bowie. I love the song.
Piano player was on fire on this whole album. He already did Aladdin Sane, which was an amazing piano solo. Now we got another great piano part on this song. I think rollicking is a good way to describe the piano on this one. It's kind of a good contrast to the rest of the album. The rest of the album kind of has this big rock energy. This one kind of brings it back a little bit and just kind of, again, centers around that piano, and that's what I really like about this song.
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty solid track. Um, it's kind of funny the writing process of this song because I heard at one point this song was meant to be a song to our good friend George Underwood, who of course punched him in the face. But he kind of changed it last minute. So now the song is a bit more kind of dark again, talking about death and immortality. So quite a big shift. And apparently the song did get banned in a couple places because it has the word wanking in there. Which you can once you hear the song, you can definitely you cannot mistake that for anything else. But other than that, yeah, like I said, I agree with Scott. The piano playing I think was the big standout. I got cabaret vibes from it, which I kind of liked. But very dramatic. I think vocally, this is where David gets a lot more dramatic with his vocals on this one. really enunciating stuff and just sounding bigger, if that makes any sense. There's some good guitar playing from Mick once again. It didn't quite make my top 5, but again, pretty solid song. I do like it quite a bit.
All right, the next track, The Prettiest Star.
I think this is another great song on the album. Um, this is my least favorite song on side two. This is one of two songs that aren't in my top 5. I don't really have much more to say. It's kind of there. It's my second least favorite on the album, if I'm being honest, but I still quite enjoyed it.
I thought this was a pretty good song. It's kind of another ballad, but this one has more of an energy than Time does to kind of give it a differentiation. I thought it was pretty good. It's not one of my like favorites, but it was still pretty solid.
And after listening to this one, I can kind of see why it didn't catch on. It's a bit more mid tempo. There's some good horns and piano yet again, and there's a nice guitar solo. But overall, this is probably one of the songs that kind of sticks out the least compared to everything else. It's probably my least favorite song on the album overall. It's not bad, but yeah, it's not really a song I think of that much.
All right. Well, I'm interested into what we're going to think about this next song. Our next song is a cover of the Rolling Stones' "Let's Spend the Night Together."
I really enjoy his version of this song. Obviously, it's not as good as the Rolling Stones version. I think we could all agree on that. I think. I I, I know I could speak for Scott, but I don't know about Bryer. I could. I want to say like, oh yeah, I could speak for everyone. And then Breyer's like, this is the better version. I'm like, oh, okay. But I think I can speak for everyone. I say I do think we could prefer the Rolling Stones version, but I think he does a really good spin on this version. I mean, when I first heard this version a while ago, like it was like we're going back to when I first heard the sound like years ago. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about this version, but the more I listen to it, the more I appreciate the nuances of it. And I mean, this wouldn't be the first. I mean, this wouldn't be the last time he covers a British artist. We have a whole album of that coming up, which
This is kind of what inspired that.
kind of, and I think this is the peak of that, in my opinion. I don't think. I think this stuff. I think if this was on that album, this would be the best song on the album. On that album, this isn't in my top 5, but if this was on Pinups, this would be the best song on Pinups, in my opinion. This is like what Pinup should have been. When I first got into this song, like when I started liking, I'm like, oh wow, they made a whole album of this. This is probably gonna be a pretty good Bowie album. And then I listened to like, oh no, it's not. But yeah, I do enjoy the song though.
Okay, the positive. The band is on fire on this song. If they were to play this live, it would probably be epic to hear live. The negative, which is the rest of what I have to say about this song, I hated this. Other than the energy, I thought this was terrible. The identity of the Rolling Stones song is completely different. I mean, I do congratulate Bowie on taking a different angle on this song and doing it more in his style. But the way he changes some of the things just I feel like don't work. Like the way he changes the rhythm, like it's supposed to let's spend the night together, but he goes let's spend the night together. It's just like changes it just that much, and it's like that's not how it goes. That and the piano part isn't quite as cool. I mean, there's a lot more guitar in this one, which I think is cool, but it took out that awesome Ian Stewart piano part, and I don't know. It just doesn't have the same vibes to it, and I guess that's probably why I don't like it as much. I definitely congratulate him for trying to do something different with it, but it didn't stick with me. And the weird bridge section where he's just like, oh, I'm like, oh my gosh, what are you doing here? That's weird. But again, good energy. I feel like he should have put another one of his like actual songs on here. I mean, I think John I'm Only Dancing could have been on this album as well, but instead we have this Rolling Stones cover, which I don't think is very good.
You guys ready for my hot take? I actually do prefer this over the Rolling Stones version. Yep, I really gravitated towards this more glam rock approach. And Scott actually pointed out that, yeah, the energy is just really what got me going. Um, I thought the piano playing was pretty good. I actually really liked it. It's kind of fit the tone. The drum sound on this song. That's like really good big sound to that one. And again, got to point out Trevor Boulder's bass work. Again, that bass is just thumping the entire time. Um, but yeah, I actually don't mind David changing up the vocal cadence of it. I actually thought it sounded pretty good. Kind of had a nice flow to it to me. But yeah, just that energy just kept me enthused the entire time. That was a great time, and it's always funny when people talk about this song. The only criticism this song gets is that he made the song sound too camp. But I like camp, so that's even better for me. But so yeah, I really enjoyed this song. I really enjoyed his take on it. That was an excellent cover. It's actually in my top 5. So there you go. I really think he did a really good job on this one. I'm not going to say that for a lot of his covers that he does, but this is at least it's like showing some promise. Again, I don't have much hope for pinups though.
I will say this wasn't nearly as campy as Uncle Arthur. That
Oh, yeah.
song is.
Uncle
gosh.
Arthur.
Oh yeah.
No. Okay. And, I also forgot to mention that was also the another single that was released from this album. So he released that as a single as well. Speaking of singles, this next song is the big single, Genie.
Well, what's there really much to say about Genie that hasn't already been said? This is an iconic song on the album. Very catchy. Genie, you know. This is, I mean, of course, this is in my top 5. I don't know if I had to tell you that. This was pretty obvious that this is in my top 5. And yeah, I don't really have much more to add. This is a very iconic song. I mean, I know Scott and Bryer are gonna have a lot more to say than I do, but take it away, guys.
I love this one. When I first heard this, when I was going through all of Bowie's albums, because I knew it was one of his big songs, but I haven't had to really listen to it. I just couldn't get enough of this song because it's so catchy. The bluesy guitar riff at the beginning is so good. That which I heard that he kind of was trying to copy a couple of Yardbirds songs with that riff, or I guess was more inspired by, because I don't think Bowie would rip somebody off. But I also like how the beginning kind of has like especially with Trevor Boulder's bass. Oh, Trevor Boulder's bass line on this is so good. It's very thumping and keeps it going along. Mick Ronson has several different guitar parts that he overdubs on this song. Good percussion too. There's like a shaker or something like, which really adds to the atmosphere. Great guitar solo as well. And the chorus is just so catchy. Genie lives on his back. Genie loves chimney stacks. Apparently, this song is kind of David Bowie's first impression of New York. Whenever he got there, he kind of wrote down some random lyrics that he thought sounded like they would fit New York, and that's kind of more or less what the song is. Also, one more thing that I love to point out that I didn't know the first time I heard this song, but I can't unhear it now. Right before they go to the chorus the first time, the band or half of the band, I think it's Trevor Boulder, jumps to the 4 chord a bar too early. So it's like boom, boom, boom. You can hear like the guitar keeps going boom, 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 and then you can hear the bass go boom, 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 and you hear Bowie go, "Get back on that." And every time I hear that now, I can't unhear that. Where right before the chorus, like boom, 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 get back on that. And apparently, Trevor Boulder, it was a mistake. He went there a bar too early, and because that's the way it was played on the record, every time he played it live, he said, "Well, now I have to play it wrong when I play it live now, because that's how people are going to want to hear it, because that's what they hear on the record." Kind of an interesting fun fact, but yeah, this song is amazing.
Yep, I'm in agreement. I mean, it's no wonder this was a big hit. Yep, for all the reasons we've said. Again, that intro with guitar and bass just really gets you in the mood right off the bat. get some good harmonica playing too, which is kind of a nice. But yeah, it's catchy. The chorus is just very memorable, and of course David doing his typical Bowie swagger, which really sells it extremely well. But yeah, there's not too much else to add to this one. It's one of his big hits. I know because I do remember 2016 because that was when he passed away. I know that was when I was just getting into his music. Of course, this is one of the songs that most people would play, and yeah, definitely is one of his iconic songs. And yeah, it goes without saying, he's in the top 5. That's not a big shock, but yeah, excellent track.
Interesting that they saved the big hit for the second to last song on this album, but then again, it's Bowie and he just released his most famous album before, so he can pretty much do whatever he wants at this time. Our final track on the album is Lady Grinning Soul.
This is one of the best songs on the album for me. This is another song that's going to be in my top 5. It's slow. I mean, it's definitely like a pretty climactic way to close the album for me. Great way to kind of end off. You start off with the energetic, Watch That Man, and then you close out on Lady Grinning Soul. I think that's a great like bookends. I mean, I was talking to Bryer before about Deep Purple, how great those bookends are. I think these bookends are even better. We back to back great bookends on album reviews for me. I love good bookends, and these two did not disappoint, especially this one. Great album closer.
I forgot about this song until I re-listened to the album today. It had been a while since I'd heard this album. Man, this is one of the most underrated songs here on the album. Again, the piano. The piano is up front and center on this song, and it just makes it so good. This is another one that kind of has more of a ballad quality to it, but this one also has a very ethereal quality to it that kind of takes you almost to another place when you listen to it. And it's a pretty good way for David Bowie to kind of end off his he's still doing the Ziggy Stardust tour, so it's just kind of the unofficial end of his Ziggy Stardust period, because next album we get the cover album, and then Diamond Dogs is a little bit different because he gets a couple of different band members. The whole Spiders from Mars aren't on that one. But yeah, great end to the album.
Yeah, so this was actually a last minute edition. It's actually the last song written for the album. And apparently this was inspired by a soul singer by the name of Claudia Lanier, because apparently David met her one time and was very kind of interested in her. But so that's kind of where the genesis of the song came from. But yeah, this is another song, like kind of what Scott was saying. It's a song I also forgot about, and I remember I didn't really like the song when I first heard it, but on this recent re-listen, I think it's starting to really grow on me. Like I really gelled with the song a lot more on this recent kind of listen I did. Definitely another one of the more experimental type songs. I've actually have read that a lot of people tend to compare this song to like a James Bond theme, and after hearing it, I can see it. It can kind of work. But yeah, it definitely has a very dramatic feel to it. Again, like the piano, like Scott mentions, very great. And there's like a slight effect on David's vocals that makes him sound distant, like a bit further away, which I think adds more dimension to the track. But you just got this nice steady beats throughout, and you even got some nice kind of more flamenco-esque guitars, which is a nice kind of another kind of addition here, which is something I didn't expect. But then it closes off on this really great closing guitar solo from Mick. But yeah, like I said, it's a song that really grew on me, and now I think it's a really nice way to close the album. But yeah, very, very solid closing song.
All right. Well, that is the end of Aladdin Sane. What is our top 5 songs on the album?
Okay, for me, my number 5 is going to be Drive-In Saturday. My number 4 is going to be Panic in Detroit. My number 3 will be The Genie. My number 2 will be Lady Grinning Soul, and my favorite song on the album is the first song on side 2, which is Time.
There are lots of good songs on this album, so some of them I want to be in my top 5, but they have to just be honorable mentions. Number 5, I'm going to go with Aladdin Sane, the title song. Number 4, Lady Grinning Soul. Number 3, Watch That Man. Number 2, Drive-In Saturday. And my favorite song on the album, Genie.
Yeah. My top 5, I have Watch That Man. Number 4, Let's Spend the Night Together. Number 3, Aladdin Sane. Number 2, Cracked Actor. And number 1, yeah, I'm going to agree with Scott, the Genie.
It's too catchy. Like,
yeah,
every time
can't
I
really
hear
avoid
that,
that one.
no, I just, even, it's not even the chorus. Sometimes it's the chorus, sometimes it's just you go walking around the house just going, dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. The guitar solo is just one note. Like, how can you make a great guitar solo when it's just one note?
He
But it's
tells
so
you know
good.
that.
Yeah, true. What are we going to give this album on as a score from 1 to 10?
I gotta give this a 10 out of 10. I mean, I had a blast re-listening to this album. This is such a great album. I think, in my opinion, I like it better than Ziggy Stardust. It has everything that made Ziggy Stardust great, but adds more to it. It's just like, imagine like Ziggy Stardust as like a great plate of like seasoned fries, but then like you go like to a place like San Diego and you get like carne asada fries with the steak, the everything about, there's more stuff to it. You're just like, this is like everything that made this stuff great, but better, just better. I love this album so much, and this is an album that grew on me more and more, and I definitely recommend it. It's not just for the album cover. I think it's more than just an album cover. I think definitely check it out.
Yeah, I was surprised at how much I liked this after listening to it again. It had been, honestly, a very long time since I've heard this album, almost a year even. I like pretty much every song on the album other than Let's Spend the Night Together. And even then, I still appreciated the energy on there. I do agree with Nick that this does kind of have more musical complexity to it than Ziggy Stardust. It's taking that and kicking it up a notch. But I will say, I don't think there are nearly as many high highs on this album. There's still a lot of them. Most of the album is fantastic, but also it's got Let's Spend the Night Together, and that brings it down a little bit. I'm going to give this a very strong 9 out of 10.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar boat with Scott. Like, I do think it. Well, no, it's not as strong as like a Ziggy Stardust, but I still think it is one of his essential albums. Not just, and like Nick said, it's not because of the album cover. I think the music itself is definitely worth exploring. There's definitely some great hidden gems in this one. But like for those same reasons, there definitely are a couple songs I don't feel are as that stick with me as much as the songs on Ziggy. But the songs I really did like, I really enjoyed. So with that all said, I think I will also give it a very strong 9 out of 10. Again, a very good album, really strong follow-up, and we'll see if he can follow this one up.
What's he gonna do next? I have no idea. Well, thank you guys for watching. Thank you very much for tuning in to our Aladdin Sane review. The next album we are going to do is going to be kind of an interesting one. It's an album of all covers, all British Invasion covers, done in the David Bowie Ziggy Stardust style. So we'll see whether we like it or not, because it's a very divisive album amongst fans. Some people think it's kind of fun, and other people think this is Bowie's worst album. So we'll be back next time with pinups. And until then, remember, music is art, and art is expression. See you next time.